What's up, guys? I'm Brian Rayos, back with another top. I just got back from YCS Utah, and I got top 32 over there. Yeah, I had a lot of fun at the event. I've been playing Trickstar forever, but for this event, I decided to play True Draco, specifically because I thought Pendulum was going to be one of the most popular matchups, and I think True Draco has an excellent Pendulum matchup. The only reason I was actually hesitant to play True Draco for this event was I was scared of the mirror match. Like, I play tested a lot online prior to the YCS. And I never won any mirror matches online, but that's just because I'm super unlucky online. But at the YCS in Swiss, I ended up playing 6 mirror matches and ended up just going X1 against them. Beat 5 mirror matches, they won. And so I was super happy that I was able to do that, because that's the one matchup I was scared against. But other than that, this deck overperformed. I think it was really good. Even though it's a pretty standard list, I think that's what helps in True Draco, is that it's just a pretty standard deck to play. And it's just overall, I think it won the YCS for a reason. I think it's one of the best decks this format. So let's get into it. So for the monsters, very low monster count, as you should in Draco, because you're playing stuff like Demise. Played 3 Rock Boy. This is Dwayne The Rock Johnson right here. You already know, Big Papi. I've seen a lot of people in Zodiac talking about that this deck won specifically because of this card. But since I played against 6 mirror matches, this card was always dead. And also, when I did draw it against other matchups, I drew it against 60 card decks, and I didn't play that many Pendulum in Swiss, but it didn't matter. I just beat him really quick. This card was dead because because this card is only good if you have other good cards in your hand. You need to have a diagram and any Draco, Spell, or Trap in order to play. But if you draw this and any floodgates that don't really resonate with each other, and this card actually just sucks. It doesn't let you play the game. It doesn't let you advance. But I mean, in theory, this card's one of the best cards in the game, because you can summon this into a full Pendulum board, and then they just lose if you have the right hand. But for me, at least this tournament, it didn't do too much. But it's probably what makes this deck really good right now. So you have to play 3. I played 2 Mommy Slayers. You already know, Masterpiece. This card should probably get banned. I've been saying it for a long time. I just think this card is super unfair because it makes you not play your deck the way that you're supposed to play your deck. Once this card comes out in the field, you have to dedicate your whole deck just to getting over this one card, while your opponent is still able to play their deck with without any restrictions, if that makes sense. Which is that's why I like playing this card, because I think this card's super unfair. But then again, I think this card's super unfair, so I don't think this card should be allowed to live. But I mean, you have to play it right. This card's super good. So that's it. I thought about playing 3 because it's the best card in the mirror match. But against everything else, I'd rather have the 1 tributes, especially since I'm playing a mono. I'd like to be able to tribute a trap while still having a mono on the field, so that my opponent's Pendulum boards or their hand traps, they can't negate anything. And I tested 3, but I just felt like I break too much with 3, so I was just happy with 2. I only played 2 Maiden. I saw a lot of the lists at top get 3, but with 3 Rock and you're playing stuff like Demise, you open too many monsters, you're just gonna lose. In top 32, game 3 versus Pendulum, I'm going first. I opened 4 monsters and a Desires in my hand, and I Desires and I draw another monster, so I just lose. That's why I wanted to keep the monster count low, because if you draw too many monsters in this deck, you're just gonna lose. You can't play your deck. But the 2 Maiden was really good. I never missed the 3rd one. I thought this was the perfect ratio. And then, of course, the last monster is one of the best ones, Ignis. This is the best one in the mirror match because it gets you Heritage. And usually with Heritage in the mirror match, just says draw 3. And that's pretty nuts. So that's it for the monsters. For the spells, it's pretty standard spell lineup. 3 Diagram. This card should get hit. It should at least get limited. This card's too good. 3 Terraforming. 3 Heritage. 3 Disciples. A lot of people will think that Heritage is the best spell on the deck. Granted, versus the mirror match is good because you can draw 3, right? But I think Disciples is actually the best Draco spell, because this is a card that pretty much says you never run out of resources. And if you always have resources in your deck, then you're almost always going to be able to beat your opponent, because you're always going to have the cards that you need to win in your deck, versus your opponent that just needs to lose resources to out your general engine. So I think this is my favorite card in this deck. And then I played 3 of the actual best cards. This card's too good. This card should get banned. If your opponent doesn't have Ash and you resolve this for 3, you're gonna win every single game. This card's too good. But I like playing unfair cards in my deck, and it's pretty unfair. 3 Duality. I thought about playing 2. I always side one out, but it's just consistency, right? If you have because the thing is, if you have Rock. If you have Rock and you need cards like this to be able to advance and keep playing your game. So 3 Duality was alright. I played 2 Desires. Uh, yeah, Desires is nuts. I mean, sometimes you banish like the cards you need, but I don't know. You have to play this card, right? Because it's a pot of greed. It says draw 2. And then the last 2 spells I played were 2 Forbidden Chalice. So I like came up with this like 2 days before. I didn't like talk to anybody about this. I just decided to play it. I thought this was good specifically for like the Zexo FTK, which I thought was going to be super popular because it just won the YCS in Costa Rica. But this card's also nuts against the mirror match because against the mirror match, your opponent's always going to summon Masterpiece with Trap Monster. So if you activate Forbidden Chalice on their Masterpiece, then their Masterpiece is not only does it get negated, at the end phase, it's affected by spells, traps, and monsters again. So I thought Forbidden Chalice was just going to be super good for the event. And it also has a lot of utility. Like when you go first, it's just another monster effect negator. So it's another card your opponent has to play through. Like versus Trickstar, I would have lost 1 game if I didn't have this because I was able to Forbidden Chalice his Lilybell. He couldn't attack directly, and then I just attacked over it next turn for game. So I thought this card was really, really good. I was really happy I played this. That's it for the spells. And for the traps, just a small trap lineup. I played Judgment, it's one of the best cards in the game. I decided to play 1 Warning. This was a last-minute addition, but since I was super afraid of the mirror match, I just wanted more cards that I could play against the mirror match that were really good. So I played Warning. This card was nuts. I'm really happy I played this. 1 Skill Drain, because I mean this card's nuts. And 1 Return. Those are all the 1-ofs. And obviously 3 Apocalypse because it's Apocalypse. And then the last 3 traps I played were just 3 anti-spell. So leading up to the event, I had tested a lot of the floodgates. Like I tested Erupt and Rivalry. Those cards, granted, are really good, but I know against the mirror match, those cards are just absolutely dead. And like I said before, I was super afraid of the mirror match going into the event. So I wanted to make my deck as consistent as possible and as good as possible versus the mirror match in my game 1s. And thankfully, my deck worked for me because I played 5 mirror matches day 1 and I was able to beat them all. And I honestly don't think you need all those floodgates in this deck to beat your opponent because I think if you have Anti-Spell and Masterpiece, these 2 cards are enough to beat your opponent no matter the deck they're playing. Usually they need spells like to get their engine going, and in order to get over Masterpiece, they need to get their engine going. So you have a card that can stop their engine, and then a card that they need their engine for to get over, then they're not going to be able to beat you. So I was really happy with this. I didn't miss Rivalry or Erupt at all. I don't think you need them. And that's like a big shout out to Ed. Ed told me, Edception, before the event, like, you don't need those type of floodgates in your deck to win. And thankfully he was right. Like, the 3 anti-spells were enough to get me there. And that's it for the main deck. I just played 40 cards. So for the side deck, I played 1 Zaphion. I played Zaphion so I played a lot of cards for the mirror match. I played Zaphion, 3 Evenlies, 3 Cosmics, and then this was actually supposed to be Strike of the Monarchs, the Scolding, but I couldn't find Strike of the Monarchs, so I said I'll just play 1 Scolding. Thankfully, the 1 occasion that I did use Scolding, Strike of the Monarchs would have done the same thing, but I was super scared, like, going into the event that, man, I really thought I was going to lose the game because I didn't have Strike of the Monarchs, but, I mean, Scolding is really good. So I played all these cards for the mirror match just because the mirror match, like, granted, it is a little difficult to win. So just the more cards you play, like, this ratio was I got this idea from Gally, the guy that just got top 4 at the YCS in Costa Rica. And I tested it, and I really like the ratio. It's really good. Like, this is another monster, and you don't want that many monsters in the deck. Like, I thought of playing maybe 2 or 3 Zaphions, but then that conflicts with Card of Demise. So I wanted the least normal summons that, like, weren't true Draco monsters. So I was really happy with this ratio. This card's so good. I think this card, like, against every other deck, this card really sucks. But against this deck, it's so good. Like, I evenly matched the guy for, like, 6 cards. And you just feel dirty doing it because it's so unfair. But you have to play this card versus a mirror match because it can be an auto win versus a mirror match. And then 3 Cosmics. Just Cosmics, it's good against the mirror match, obviously. However, it also has other utility versus other decks like Trickstar and stuff. So I think this card was really good. But yeah, these cards were specifically there for the mirror match, except Scolding and Cosmic. Like, these have more utility against other decks, but they were really good against the mirror match. And the other cards in my side deck, I played 2 Iron Wall. These were there for Invoked, Trickstar, and so that I didn't lose to Iron Wall. I actually ended up winning a game versus the mirror match with this card because he summoned Masterpiece, and I activate this to force him to use his Masterpiece effect, knowing that he's going to have to pop something, right? He doesn't pop this, and because of that, I'm able to win. So while I didn't, like, put this in my side deck specifically for the mirror match. It does have its utility because you don't lose the evenly match, and they can't use their masterpiece under this. So this card's really good. And then obviously this card just shuts down Trickstar, like they can't win. And it's pretty good against a vote. Oh, and 60 card decks too. If you activate this versus a 60 card deck, they're not gonna beat you. So this card's really good. I played 2 sphere mode. Like in theory, this card's really good, right? Because against the pendulum deck, they just end with their 2 negates and their link, and you just tribute everything. And against World Chalice too, it's really good against World Chalice. But I don't know, like this card never came up for me. I think this card kind of sucked. So I don't know. I'm probably not gonna side this going forward, but I'm still not sure. And then the last 3 side deck cards were just 3 cherries. Going into the event, I wasn't sure if I wanted to play any hand traps or not, but I didn't want to lose to the FTK like 100% of the times. And I thought, but I also didn't want to side too many hand traps because once again, it conflicts with the like whole Draco deck with Card of Demise. So I thought, which is the best hand trap I could play? And I was testing between Ash, Ogre, and this. But this card can literally be an auto win against a lot of decks. So I was really happy I played this. This card's really, really good when you draw it, right? So yeah, that was my side deck. And so my extra deck, all cherries targets. So I played one Imduk for the World Chalice matchup. If you cherries this, they can't beat you. Like they literally cannot do anything. So this was like the best target for that. One Dweller, I don't know. I had like a few spots open that I just tossed in cards that I thought could come up like that would beat me, but this never came up. This never came up. Toad, you know, I never played against this, but that deck's easy to beat with this anyways. You just summon this with a trap and they can't beat you. Dante, I mean, the guy topped with it, right? But I didn't play him, but I don't know. I honestly don't know how that guy topped. This deck just destroys that, but I mean, it's there. I played a Beals because this deck does lose hard to Beals, and I saw that Pendulum players were starting to play this. So if I drew like, I don't know, two cherries or whatever against that deck, I could cherries the Electrum and then cherries the Beals, and then they literally cannot beat me. But this never came up. This never came up. Buster, this deck, I think this deck sucks, but it never came up. The Gem Knight, because I didn't want to lose to the FTK, but I didn't play that. I played a board load. I don't know why. I'm going to cut this. This never comes up, so I'm not going to play this. I played a Nat Beast because I was afraid of Nat Beast decks, and I had played against them online, so I didn't want to lose to that card. But this never came up. Black Rose, you don't want to get your whole board wiped, but thankfully this never came up. A Double Helix, just because if you cherries that deck, they lose, but I didn't play this. Electrum, this is really good, right? Because you don't lose to the FTK, but honestly, you really don't need cherries that much against like the plain plain Pendulum deck. It's only really there for the FTKs because the plain Pendulum deck where they end with their 2 negates, that's super easy to play through. Like, if you're a good player, you're gonna know how to make them bait out their cards. So, but I mean, it's there because against bad players, if you cherries their Electrum, they don't know how to play through that and they'll just lose. I played a Mechaba, but I had to give it back. A friend was letting me borrow it for him. And then the last one I played is like the best one. This is Seraph Knight. If you cherries this against 60 card decks, they lose. Like, unless they have grass, they can't play through that and they just lose. Like, that happened to me my last round of Swiss. I'm X2 at that point. My opponent's going first. He does his little Lone Fire Predaplant combo. He activates Brilliant. I chain this. He loses. He passes, and my hand is nuts, so I'm able to beat him. I think this was better than this for the cherries target. So I was super happy I played this. And that was another reason why I wanted to play cherries, because I was afraid of 60 card decks. But this, like this is just so good. Like, they really can't play through it unless they have grass. And if they have grass, that's just, I think that's another card that needs to get banned. But that's like a different story for another day. But yeah, thanks guys. Quick shout outs, Team Big Dog, you already know. We got 2 of us in top cut. Unfortunately, we both lost in top 32, but it was nice for the representation. One of us won the giant card, thankfully. And then, of course, yeah, you already know. Huge shout outs to Murillo Digital Systems, our local here in Hawthorne. A lot of good players here, and it helps to prepare for events. But yeah, ARG coming up, and hopefully Team Big Dog will be able to take that too. All right, thank you.